Hello friends. In today's tutorial, we shall be talking about something which is already written on the board, stress. As you look at stress, stress is a topic in English language, but it is majorly connected to the sound aspect. I've told you before now that English language is divided into spoken and written. Of course, when we talk about the spoken English, we are focusing on the sound aspects. It deals with sound, Every language has its accent, just like we understand in English language. English language has its original accent, and everyone is, making efforts to make sure we measure up to expectation. Now, the topic before us is that aspect of sound someone needs to improve, especially in the spoken English. We need to speak so that we have a kind of international recognition. Now, the stress of a topic, like I said, it is connected to the sound aspect. This is pure oral English. And today we shall be talking about the meaning of stress. How do we understand stress? How do we look at it? Stress as a topic in English language. All right, when we mention stress, we are talking about force. We are talking about energy. I've told you before now, in my previous topic where I talked about the syllables, the English language or the English words are divided into different syllables. Of course, when we talk about the syllables, we have the monosyllabic, we have the di or bisyllabic, we as well have the polysyllabic. It means that every English word, apart from the monosyllabic, normally must, belong to either the disyllabic or bisyllabic, and then the polysyllabic. When we mention the disyllabic, they are words that have only two syllables. But then the polysyllabic are those English words that possess more than three or from three to infinity. It has three syllables, 4, 5, and so on. Now, but the point is this: in the stress, when we mention example, words like something like, if I write something like this on the board, here we have it as information. Information. And this is a single English word that is divided into 1, 2, 3, 4 syllables. That means we have one syllable, two, the third one, and the fourth. This word is made up of 4 syllables. It is divided into 4 syllables. Remember, we call it polysyllabic because it has more than 3 syllables. From 3 to infinity, that is where we have polysyllabic. But the point here is this: as we pronounce this word, how do we even pronounce it? Information, all right? We have it as information. And then, as we look at it like this, we notice that the different syllables don't possess the same energy or the same force in the course of pronunciation. If you look at this very well, we have information. All right, we have this as shun. We have here as may. Here we have it as for, in. Blending all of them together, we have a concept such as information. But what you have to notice here is this: the different syllables that make up this particular word, all the syllables don't possess the same degree of force. They don't have the same energy. The energy that is applied as we pronounce this cannot be the same in that energy that is exerted here, that is manifested here in the third syllable. If you go back to pronounce it again, you notice that it sounds this way: information. That means we have more of our energy applied, power, energy, force that is applied, okay, before we are able to get this. And the degree of energy we have here is higher or greater than the energy that is manifested during the production or pronunciation of other syllables. So what are we talking about? In effect, Stress has to do with extra force or energy that is applied in the course of pronunciation. Whatever English word that you write, in as much as such word, possesses either two syllables, three syllable, four, five, and so on. The amount of force, that is exerted, that is manifested as you make effort to pronounce such word, if you divide the particular word in their different syllables, you notice that the energy that is in place, it cannot be measured the same. As you pronounce the word, the different syllables that came together, like I have given you example from this information, you don't apply the same force as you pronounce the word. As you observe the pronunciation of the different syllables, although the blending or the pronunciation is done once, okay? But the point is that the particular syllable where we have the stress is that syllable where you have given or manifested higher level of force in the course of pronunciation. So we have the stress here, mention, all right? This word is stressed in syllable number 3, in the third syllable. That's where we have the stress manifested. Okay, having explained what stress is, we need to understand that. Like I said again, it has to do with extra force that is applied as we make pronunciation. But then I still have to tell you that words that are monosyllabic cannot be stressed. Example, when we have something like go, we have something like come, we have something like stop, we have words like bring, okay? These are monosyllabic words. It means that they possess only one syllable, okay? If you look at them, go, come, stop, bring, they don't need stress. They don't admit stress. You don't stress monosyllabic words. They are only stressed when they are pronounced in isolation. But when we talk about words that are disyllabic, that is two syllables. Example, we have something like convert. We have words like transport. We have words like import. Okay, let's dwell on these three. If you look at these words, the first one is convert. The second one is transport. Sorry, that's the spelling. Okay, we have it as transport. And we have this to be import, okay? These are different English words. Now, for the first one, like I said, it is convert. Okay, this is a disyllabic word. It is made up of two syllables. The first one, two syllables. That's why if we need to break them in syllables, we have something like this. Convert, okay? So that we have the first syllable where we have the stress. We write it something like this, convert. And because the stress is on the first syllable, what do we notice? We notice that it is pronounced convert, okay? And it is a name. The word convert, it's what? It is a name. You could call somebody convert. That's my convert. If you preach to somebody, and then you tell him about your belief, you tell him or her about your religion, whatever it is you believe, and you make effort to get somebody convinced to believe the same way you do, to believe in your God, begin to worship the same way where you worship. At the end of the day, if that person accepts, to do what you have persuaded him or her to do, he or she becomes your convert, okay? That's the meaning, and this is a name. Human beings or whatever it is, when you converted them, they become your converts. All right. But then at a name, that's why we have the stress on the first syllable. Remember, the stress could be shifted from the first syllable to the second. Now, because we have the stress on the first syllable, that is why this word is belonging to the grammatical class noun. It is a noun. So, but then when we shift, Is it possible for the stress on the first syllable to be shifted to the second syllable? Is it possible? Is it obtainable? Of course, yes. And that is what we call shifting stress. When the stress shifts from the first syllable to the second one, it becomes shifting stress. And not only that, the possibility of this changing from the grammatical class noun to verb is also obtainable. And then we have something like this. It becomes now what? Convert. Convert. All right? And this is now a verb. So, something like this. We have this to be what? Convert. And this is convert. You know, I need to really talk to that lady because I am beginning to see her moving astray. I need to tell her about my God so I could get her converted. All right? Converted. That is, I need to convert her to believe what I believe. I need to convert her, to begin to worship with us in my church. All right? That's this. That's the convert here. All right? So when you succeed, she becomes your convert. But in the process, to carry the activity out, to convince her to believe whatever you have, you believe, that's the process here. Verb, action-oriented words. Convert, and this is convert. Okay, the second one, we have it to be what? Transport. Transport, sorry. The stress, because it is here on the first syllable, we have it something like this. Transport. That's a name. Name of an activity. The action of transport, all right? The activity of transport is what we call transport, all right? How do we even pronounce it? Remember, when the stress is on the first syllable, the sound is going to take a particular shape. And you notice that the energy applied in the course of pronouncing the first syllable will be higher than the energy applied as we pronounce the second syllable. That is why the stress is on the first syllable. Remember, I told you that stress deals with what? Additional force, extra power, extra energy that is applied in the course of pronunciation. And as you make pronunciation, it must affect, the syllables that are obtained in a given English word. So this one, we have the stress on the first syllable. That is why it is a noun. It is a noun because as a disyllabic words of two syllables, when the stress is on the first syllable, that particular word will now belong to a grammatical class noun. Then it goes to the second, then we call it shifting stress, like I told you, and that's when you begin to picture that word to be a verb. So here we have it as transport. Also remember that when the stress is on the first syllable and then the word is a noun, the sound of that word, of course, will take a particular shape. And when the stress goes to the second syllable and the word becomes a verb, the sound of such word will also change. So here we have it as what? Transport. All right? You notice that the first syllable takes the higher stress. Transport. And the second one becomes what? Transport. Transport. Okay? That's what we call shifting stress. Now, the stress has shifted from the first syllable to the second. Therefore, the word here now is a verb. Okay? This is what? Transport. All right, the action of movement from one place to another. That's what we call transport. All right? And then as this, it is a verb. Okay? The last one is import. The same thing we have. Import. Import. All right? And then we have it as a noun here because the stress is on the first syllable. And then we have import. Here, the stress goes to the second syllable. And because the stress has shifted from the first syllable to the second, we have it as what? Import. And this is a verb. Take note. Once again, the stress, as we talked about it, it has to do with extra force, and or energy that is applied. Notice these words. These are all disyllabic words. And the disyllabic words, like I told you previously, they are words that possess only two syllables. Now, whenever you pronounce such words, you must have in mind, you must observe it, you must notice that the various syllables that are obtained in such words, not all of them will take the same level, the same degree of stress. A particular syllable will take a higher stress. That means you apply more force in your effort to pronounce such word correctly in the exact manner. And if you fail to do that, you notice that you now produce a wrong pronunciation of that particular word. Remember that stress is part of that topic in English language that is connected with spoken English. And we are making efforts to do what? To measure up to expectation. We need to speak so that we have an international recognition. Thank you very much. If you have really enjoyed the teaching, we urge you to kindly consider subscribing to our channel. Follow us on Facebook on Ezayola English Language, Online English, Ezayola Online English.